Hey, what's up YouTube? Happy New Year. It's Steve and I'm back with my first video of 2015, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review of Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition for the PlayStation 4. So let's jump right into it. So this is Sleeping Dogs, the Definitive Edition for the PlayStation 4, and in this game you play as an undercover officer by the name of Wei Shin, who's trying to bring down a Chinese triad from the inside. This Definitive Edition has 2 additional stories that were part of DLC for when this game first came out a couple years ago, and they are Nightmare in North Point and Year of the Snake. So if you get this Definitive Edition, you will see those on there. You don't have to do anything to download them, but they're already part of it. Now, this game has a lot of great points in it. Has a couple points that I didn't like, but I won't necessarily say that they're bad points. To me, it's sort of a combination of Grand Theft Auto and Watch Dogs, because you've got a lot of features of Grand Theft Auto where you can obviously stealing cars. There's a lot of combat, but then you've also got features of Watch Dog. There's a couple of elements that I found where you have to actually hack into different organizations to find out information about them. Now, another thing that I also noticed about this game is this is in the Chinese culture, and in this game, one of the big things that you see in games like Grand Theft Auto and Watch Dogs is a lot of emphasis on weapons. In this game, it's more hand-to-hand combat, and that even comes up at one point in the story. Another way in which this is similar to Watch Dogs and Grand Theft Auto is that in order to advance time, you have to bring Wei Shin back to his apartment here, and he sleeps. In addition to that, you know, you start out, this is your, it's not your safe house, but it's your apartment. This is where you come to access things like changing clothes. I haven't really gotten a lot as far as clothes, but if that's what you're interested in, there's a lot of clothes stores in the game, so you can stop by, buy him some clothes, and come back here and adjust them. Over here you also have what looks like an iMac, but it's actually a TV. And when he hacks into different criminal organizations, he comes back here and he watches what they are doing on this television. So we're going to access it for a second. I'll show you what it looks like. Alright, so you've got 4 zones in Hong Kong. That's where the story is taking place, in Hong Kong. You've got these 4 zones, and Wei Shin may have to go into one of those zones at any given time and plant a bug or something like that. Once he does, then he immediately can come back here, and you'll see, depending upon whatever location he had to go to, you'll see red dots in those locations, and you can go to those dots and you can hack in and see what's going on and actually call the police and have the criminal organization that's there, you can have them arrested. So right now I don't have any, but I can show you what the screens look like. So for example, if we had somebody in the central zone, we click it, this here brings up all the closed circuit television monitors in that area. There's none. I haven't had to go into this district or this zone to plant anything yet, so there's nothing there. If we go into North Point, you can see I've got two cameras here. And if we go in, now there's nothing going to be on here because I've already done the missions where these guys were arrested. But right now it'll show you, it's as if you're looking through, you know, the television. And if somebody was here and I wanted to have them arrested, I'd just zoom in, and I don't know if you can see that person highlighted, but I press X, and all of a sudden you can hear the cops talking, and there they are, and they just arrested that individual. Now that probably wasn't the best thing for me to do, but okay. So once you're done in there, it automatically, and you get feedback from the cops as well. Once they arrest somebody, they'll let you know, hey, we never would have gotten that target, great job or whatever, and then you're able to go on about your mission. Now let's go into some of the pros and cons of this game, and while I'm discussing that, I'll go through the game and show you a little bit of what it looks like. So this is his apartment. It's a pretty seedy looking place, pretty crappy looking. Basically, he goes there to sleep. He goes there to hack into the closed circuit television things and change clothes. That's about it. He can also get a drink out of the refrigerator, and if you're paying close enough attention, you'll see the roaches and stuff crawling across his apartment floor. That's how detailed this game is. So whenever you come out of your apartment, if you want to get one of your vehicles that's stored in a parking garage, you have to see this guy, and he opens the door and you can see which vehicles you have. Right now I have a motorcycle, I have an airbrush dragon armored van, and I have a Hong Kong Police Department motorcycle, as well as a Hong Kong Police Department SUV. And this car, a 600 Coupe S, I just unlocked this last night, and I'm going to address something about that as far as the vehicles, but not right now because that's really not one of the pros. As I was saying, I'm going to go ahead and address what I feel are some of the pros right now. Alright, it also has a radio your cars have radio stations as well, and it's not as user friendly as Grand Theft Auto's radio. Let's get into the pros. One of the pros about this is that the story takes place in Hong Kong. You know, most of the time when you play games like this where, you know, the cop who's got to infiltrate a gang and bring them down from the inside, it's usually in the US somewhere. So this is a refreshing change of scenery. I mean, everything here is shown in great detail. I mean, the streets, the people. You can see here driving around, it's nighttime, there's a little fog on the ground. You can see the fog rising. You can see the detail in the headlights of your car. You can see the bustle of nightlife here. It looks really nice. I've never been to Hong Kong, so I can't say this is a 100% replica of it, but from what I see in this game, it looks really good. Yeah, I took my eyes off the screen for a hot second. Now, another thing, if I can finally address it here, is the fighting system in this game. Now, it's not just, you know, punch, kick, and throw somebody around. This game has a lot of features in it. If you're at any point in time, you're going to be ambushed in a fight. It's going to easily be 4 or 5 people against your one guy. So you have a feature in there where you can do a counter. If somebody attempts to punch you, you can do a counter where you can grab their arm and throw a counter punch at them. Same thing with kicks, and you can actually do counters where you actually break people's legs. So here's one. We're going to take this guy, and he's out. There's really nothing else I can do with that. As you go forward, you can build up different attributes where your character can do different things. He can enter one aspect where you do have weapons. You can enter slow motion and leap over something and shoot. You know, you can slow time down and leap over something and shoot. Let's see, I'm trying to find a good area where I can demonstrate some fighting action. You can also do something that I absolutely love, and that's environmental kills. Now there's nothing. Oh, here we go. So if you're in a fight with somebody, this is not good at all. As you go throughout the story, Wei Shen will get different character bios about different people in the story, different members of different gangs. You can access those under the reports. So first, if you look here, you'll have biographical notes talking about your character Wei Shen. Then you go down, there's a San Francisco Police Department psychological eval of Wei Shen. And like I stated before, this story takes place in Hong Kong, but Wei Shen was it's a longer part of the story. But he was orphaned, he was raised in San Francisco, became a cop, and now he's back. And a lot of these people that are in this triad, these are people that he grew up with when he was in Hong Kong before. So they remember him, they just don't know that he's an undercover cop. although there is one person who has a sneaking suspicion. Then you also have a psychological evaluation, and you've got a bunch of other ones that are locked. I haven't uncovered those yet. Now this is one of the other pros of this game too, driving. You have to remember you are in Hong Kong, and they don't drive on the same sides of the street that we're on. Now while you may recognize that and know that, actually driving and remembering to do that getting into the habit of doing that is pretty difficult. Right here.
I found one of your statues.
Okay, so this is a former martial arts teacher, Wei Shin, and he's seeking to have his jade statues returned. So as you go throughout the game and accomplish different missions, you recover them and you bring them back to him, and in turn, he teaches you different martial arts holds.
How do we talk about the things I can't reveal?
Don't need to. I knew you well once. Don't believe people change that.
Alright, so we're going to skip right over that.
What would you like to learn?
And in turn, he is willing to teach us a new tactic. So last time I was here, I learned the tackle strike. Alright, here's one. Leg break. There we go. Learn these different tactics, and then just like that you get the students who step in and decide they want to challenge you. And just like that you defeat. Whoa. Now there I could have used my counter, and you get that warning when their character turns red, but I didn't use it. And just like that, your training's over. So with that, I've learned that particular skill. Alright, so I learned, there it is. It shows you that you learn that, and then you get back into the game. Alright, so in addition to that, you also, like I said, one of the pros of this game, for me anyway, is the lack of focus on weapons. This is not a big, you know, you're not going to find a bunch of weapons. Matter of fact, thus far, the only weapon that I've found was a 9mm, and I used it in a scenario depicting a crime scene, and I used one going in and dragging this criminal out of a particular location. Beyond that, everything has been hand-to-hand combat. Another pro to this game is the graphics, and I addressed that before. I can't state what Hong Kong looks like in real life because I've never been there, but I can tell you that the graphics on this game are awesome. I understand that this actually came out a couple years ago, I believe on the PlayStation 3, but looking at this here looks really good. I mean, if you were impressed with the graphics of Grand Theft Auto 5 and Watch Dogs, then you'd be impressed with these as well. Another aspect of this game that I like is the voice acting. The characters, it doesn't sound like they're just reading a script, but they actually sound like they're involved in the story. Let's see if we can get somebody here. And just like that, he's out. Now, you also have, I mentioned fighting earlier, but I wasn't able to show you. Here you have what's called environmental fighting. And that's that right there. There's certain, when you get into a fight, there's certain environmental aspects that may light up and let you know they're available for use during your fight. Like that telephone booth. You also have your car. In one of the places that I was in one of the hideouts, there was an oven that you could actually set people on fire in. Another pro is the actual missions. In a lot of games, especially games like Grand Theft Auto and Watch Dogs, you'll have main missions, but you'll have side missions, and the side missions really don't have anything to do with the overall story. They're just things you can do to improve your character's standing, or his rating, or whatnot. But in this game, every mission counts, even the side missions. They're all related to bringing down the triad. Alright, so here I just found a box here. Alright, so what we're trying to do is open a lock. Alright, so the first number is 16. You hit X. You can see right here basically what you're doing is you're turning the left controller stick clockwise and counterclockwise until it hits, and then once it hits a particular number in the green, you hit X to move on to the next one. So we're about to unlock this box here, and we've discovered some clothing. Wow, a baseball cap and 5,000 Hong Kong dollars. And these are scattered all throughout the city. Now, as I was saying about the missions, even the side missions, they're all related to helping bring down the triad. You're not going to find one that just has you randomly doing something that has absolutely nothing to do with anything. They're all related. I also like the undercover agent aspect, you know, and they go through great pains in this game to try and keep his cover intact. Not just Wei Shin, but his he has a handler that he works with, and he also have a couple of other cops that he works with, and they all try their best to keep his identity under wraps. Like I said, there is one of the characters who I planted a bug on his vehicle and listened to him on the phone, and he was actually stating that he thought that my character was a cop, because he made the smart deduction that every time I show up, shortly after I show up in a particular location, the cops show up and guys are getting arrested. And in one particular part of the story, I was drug in, thrown on the table, and about to be hacked up, but I was able to turn the tables and point the finger at another guy in the room who was actually killed. So I got out of that one. So yeah, that whole undercover agent thing comes into play big time. It's constantly throughout the story. So here you can take a look at how this looks. Now, it just started raining out of the blue. You can take a look at the streets here and see how realistic this actually looks. Now it's time for some of the cons. Now, some of the cons of this game is, you know, I've addressed driving from a pro standpoint, but the flip side here is driving these cars is, you know, it's nothing like Grand Theft Auto. You can get in a car.
Can you help me out?
Oh wait. I'll offer help here. Let's see.
All right. Wait a second.
What?
Okay.
Oh wow.
What the hell?
Wow. He asked me to give him a ride.
That asshole was sleeping with my girlfriend.
Oh wow.
You can't just punch a cop.
I know. Gotta have a getaway.
Wow. So I'm a cop and I'm helping him escape the cops.
Would be nice.
Oh, right.
Now this is what I was talking about. One of the cons of this game, driving these cars is
That girlfriend too, right?
stiff as I don't know what. I mean, it doesn't matter what type of car you
She's
get.
got a nice smile. Dresses real
The
nice.
control there very difficult to control.
Not yet, man. Gotta be.
And you can see here I'm driving pretty fast here, and I'm trying to hug this wall, but this car goes to the right. And I know, you know, some people will say, oh, it could be because of the rain, but does it whether it's raining or not? Alright, I think now this here, you've got it. I just did the whole feature where you slam on the brakes, and well, basically in a lot of games it's hit the emergency brake and turn at the same time. That was the equivalent of what I just did, and the car basically came to a stop. And I was braking, making that curve, and it went wide. Now, where am I taking this clown to? Alright, I got $2 grand for dropping this guy off. Now, like I was saying, the next feature that is a con that's directly related to driving is the car selection. I'm sure if you notice the cars as we're driving through, there's nothing that really stands out, and that's pretty much true of all of the cars in this game, except the cars that are on the racing circuit. And it takes a little bit to get to the part of the story where you're involved in infiltrating one of the racing gangs to try and find out what's going on with them. But it's only then that you get cars that actually look like something. But the good thing is, once you accomplish those missions, those racing missions, the cars that you actually race in are yours. So you don't have to drive around with these type of cars, these cars. I'm sure you can see this here. Let's do a quick once over on this. Yeah, it's beat up, but this is the type of car that you have. You can see the taxi over there. You've also got, like I said, motorcycles and trucks and stuff like that as well. So those are not that's not something that I'm really excited about as far as the vehicles. Another thing that I wasn't too keen on in this game was the counter moves in fighting. Now, I'm glad that they put it in there, because there's a lot of times, you may be fighting one guy and you're facing him, but somebody else will come from behind and they'll get ready to swing. You can hit counter and you can disengage from the guy in front of you and start fighting the guy in the back. But there's a lot of times that counter button doesn't work right on as it says it should. You hit the counter button, the guy behind you still gets a hit in on you, because there's a as soon as you hit the counter button, it's like a slight freeze before your guy responds. And so a lot of times it just takes learning the timing of it, really. Yeah, it just takes a little bit of learning that timing, and I haven't mastered the timing yet, so it's a little challenging. Like I said, I've only had the game for about a week, so there's a lot that I'm still learning and figuring out about it. I'll do something here. Okay, here we go. And with that, you have Wei Shin in action. So like I said, this has been the Sleeping Dogs Definitive Edition review for the PlayStation 4. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below. And please do remember to hit that like button and to share this video with others, and do hit that subscribe button, and I will see you all in the next video. Peace.